Okay, Coach, you guys are in the middle of a 6-game skid and are heading to Missouri for 4 games against a pair of programs that are struggling this year but have historically been very solid softball teams.
Absolutely. This weekend, this whole year has all been about the transition into Division II, but then also living on the road for us and figuring out how to win on the road. We've kind of been an interesting program in that sense, and just the idea that we go down to Florida and we go 8-2. We put up runs, we hit the ball, but really down in Florida, all the kids had to worry about was softball. We come home and we kind of hit some just down points. We struggle against some teams that maybe we should have competed better against, lost some really close ones, but all those trips were within an hour and a half of our university. This weekend now we have to travel about 5 hours to Northwest and then another 3 hours over to Truman. So we're going to be on the road. We're going to be away from Sioux Falls. I'm excited to see how the kids respond to this, because you're absolutely right. Both these programs historically have been very good. But I also won't downgrade their record, because they're playing in a conference that is one of the elite conferences in the Midwest. I mean, the NSIC and the MIAA always has teams that are competing at the national level and in the national tournament. And so they're in a conference very similar to what we're in, but now this year they're just kind of down on the bottom half. And so we get 2 great opponents to really match ourselves up, to really see where we're at Division II, and moving forward into this region that we join the MIAA next year in the region rankings. So it'll be a good test to us to kind of see where our team matches up against some MIAA teams.
Give us a scouting report of the 2 teams.
Northwest is going to really, they've got a solid ace pitcher. They've got a solid ace. After that, I would say their 2 and 3 pitchers kind of match up very well against us in our pitching staff. And so one of the games I'm very sure Coach Anderson's going to throw their ace against us, and we're going to have to see what we can do with it. Other than that, hitting wise, they've got some power hitters probably in their top of the order 1 through 3. After that, it's pretty average, kind of matched up with us of they've got their highs and their lows, and some games they light it up and some games the bottoms struggle. And so I think Northwest is going to be a great opportunity for us to see some pitching that maybe we haven't seen yet, but then also be able to hopefully put some pressure on them offensively that we haven't been able to do to other teams. Truman State, their hitting is there. They're putting runners on and scoring runs. I think the way the scouting report looks on them, their pitching staff is very similar to ours. Their ERAs are around 3.4, and so they're giving up some runs, and so it'll be a good test for us with Truman State. That's their last 2 games before the conference tournament if they make it, and that all rests on today against the Truman and Northwest are playing today, kind of for who goes into the conference tournament. And so Sunday could be a tale of 2 games. If Truman doesn't win today and they're not in the conference tournament, they're going to come out fired, and it's their last 2 games of the season, and I guarantee you we're going to get their best shot. They win today and knock Northwest out of the conference tournament, we're going to get that on Saturday. So, both of these teams have a lot riding on their games today, and then moving forward into this weekend, it could be their last 2 games. So we're going to get their best shot both times. Speaking
of ace pitchers, Bailey Bauman's continued to be a bulldog for you. She's racking up a whole bunch of strikeouts, but she has been getting the run support, and in the 6-game losing streak, you guys have been outscored 49-8. What did you do this week to address it in practice, and what's the team's mindset, knowing that they need to plate some more runs if they're going to have a chance to bring home some wins that are, just to get off the skid and, get back to what they expected to accomplish this season?
The expectations from the coaching staff hasn't changed. Our expectations are still high on this team and what we're moving forward. We got 10 games left, and our expectations is still to get to that 18-20 win season. It's going to be a lot of work. I mean, it's not going to be an easy process. We've definitely built ourselves a hole, and so we've relayed that message to the girls in the sense that we haven't stopped. Our expectations haven't stopped, and they need to continue to work. A lot of it's on them. Just making adjustments at the plate. We get stuck in so many situations where we watch 2 strikes without swinging the bat, and we're giving ourselves 1 opportunity of a swing of the bat to put contact on. And in the game of softball, that is tough. We really have to give ourselves 2 to 3 good swings to really see if we can put contact to the ball. So really, practice this week's been about focusing on getting to the plate and being aggressive with the pitches that we get. Teams that are beating us are taking pitches that Bailey or Amanda are throwing that are maybe out of their zone a little bit, and they're taking them and driving them, and they're turning into base hits, and we're taking those balls and letting them be balls on us and not moving forward with trying to take something to right field or left field. And so just the mindset of the girls going to the plate has to change this weekend. We have to be hungry for hits. We have to be hungry to plate runs. And if we do that, we're going to put ourselves in a great opportunity to be successful because our pitchers are really doing their job. Bailey Bauman is definitely taking control of the situation. Through 5-6 innings, she's throwing great. And then I think the innings wear on her, that maybe we don't have a run support or we don't have a couple leads, and that hurts her. And so we just need to help her out in that sense. Amanda Walters, first year, really throwing a lot this year compared to maybe what she's thrown in the past. Has definitely done a good job in that sense. Continuing to work with her and her development will only improve her for next year.
On a lighter note, 10 days from now the season will come to an end. This being your first year, has it flown by? I mean, are you kind of sitting back now and just thinking, "Gosh, we're almost done," or has it, have you kind of been able to make note of, the highs and the lows that come with the first season as being a head softball coach?
I think for my first year, it's definitely been one of those roller coasters. Just trying to figure out how to really motivate this team, just on the sense of, okay, when we do hit those skids, how do we approach practice? How do we approach games? Games that we should be winning but we're not, or we're losing close to teams that we really competed against. I mean, I look back to Augustana, we lose 2-0 and just kind of on a fluke pop-up that we don't communicate on and we don't catch. We lose to Wayne 1-0, 4-0. Teams that are going to be making the Northern Sun tournament, we're playing with. We're just not executing to finish out the games. And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a season of growing and just coaching ability of myself, just trying to figure out when we do hit those skids, how do we come back and bounce back? Because, like I said, Florida was great. We come home and we've really struggled. And a lot of it, I think, is just trying to get the girls to see that when it's softball, and when it's academics, it's academics, and really trying to get them to separate the two when it's on the field, and not bringing what happened at school or bringing what happened in class to the field. And that, I think, has been the biggest thing this year for the girls to grow on as well. Moving forward, the good teams are really focused on what they're doing at the task at hand, and then they after that's over, then they move on. And so this year's been definitely an exciting year, being my first year. But we're moving forward. We're growing. We've got to build a foundation, and this team really, I think, has started to lay the foundation. We've got 10 games to go. The foundation needs to be firmed up before we hit summer, so that when we come back in the fall, we step on something solid.